Hey, my friend, it's Graeme, and you're with me for another BC Bike Race training blog update. As you know, I'm headed to the famous BC Bike Race over in British Columbia, a 7-day mountain bike stage race. Not that I'm really there to race it, I'm there to survive it, and to be honest with you, enjoy the experience to its fullest capacity. But to do that, to do any 7-day mountain bike event, whether you're dead last or first place, you need to come mentally and physically prepared. Not just to do the race, but to deal with all the stresses and logistics of doing a 7-day event halfway around the globe. Not an easy thing to do. I know many of you have been following my updates for my training, my endurance building, burning no matches, burning as many matches as you can, using things like cyclo iron training to build up my core, my back. All those things have been going fantastic. In fact, I'd say for lead up, if I had to give myself a grade on how well I was doing, if I was my own customer in this case, and I am, I'd give myself about an A-. I'm doing everything really well. My training's been going well. I'm just finishing up 3 weeks in a row of a progressive build using the Cyclo 90 in season, in particular for me, the mountain bike endurance protocol, which I know many of you have used before. A very aggressive protocol. I have been pushing my outer limits, so to speak, as far as I can go. I just finished up basically an 8-day training block of very aggressive and progressive training. Again, I've been updating you that here with the blog. If you've been following me on Strava, you can go and look how many King of the Mountains I've taken this week, my performance, my endurance. It's at a peak. I'm definitely finishing up a peak. Now, here's the tricky part. 2 weeks to go now. 2 weeks until BC Bike Race. And I feel like shit today. I mean, just awful. It's Monday the 17th. I leave on the 27th, which is next Thursday. It's a beautiful day. Love to be out actually training right now, but I can't. After finishing up the past 8 days, I came home yesterday after about a 4.5-hour enduro, a technical, tough enduro with friends. I went from feeling fantastic to feeling like an 80-year-old man struggling to stand up, struggling to move, struggling to speak, struggling to eat. You might think, well, you're overtrained. Well, no, I'm not overtrained. I'm overreached, definitely. I have overreached what I've ever been able to handle before, and that's exactly what the protocol was designed to do. Now, usually, I set up my tapering periods for you as well, using my programs with 1 week of tapering. What tapering means, just to refresh your memory, means that we're dropping our training volume, we're maintaining or elevating our training intensity. Again, that's usually dependent on the event itself, and we're increasing the amount of time in recovery. Now, you might think that during the time of recovery, especially after a big training block, that you should feel better, you should feel refreshed, you should feel energetic, because you have all this energy left over that's usually being applied to the bicycle. Yeah, no, you feel like shit. Total shit. You ask any professional athlete what the tapering phase feels like, and you're going to start to kind of get this mind game in your head saying, well, yesterday or 2 days ago, I felt really, really good. Fantastic, even unbreakable. Today, I can barely lift my water bottle to drink. I must be way past my peak, and destruction is imminent. I'm going to get into my event. It's going to be a disaster. Well, remember, I'm not going to BC Bike Race to have one great day. I'm going to BC Bike Race to have 7 moderate to great days in a row, to the best of my ability. That's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to do the best I can to make sure I'm ready to do that. So usually when I'm 1 week out and I move into taper, I feel like hell moving all the way into the event. And I literally am just coming out of feeling like hell right when the event starts. And again, usually it's a 1-day event. What I'm hoping to do this time is actually use 2 weeks out and move into my taper now, which really begins yesterday and really into today. I'm not going to train today. More than likely, I'm not going to train tomorrow. We'll see. To be honest with you, I could go out right now. I could go out on the bike. I could. I'm tempted to. I really am. Because I know if I do go out on the bike, even though I'm tired, it'll make me feel better. And that's the illusion, is that when you've done enough training stress, okay? Regardless if you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're pro athlete, nothing. Training stress is the same for everyone. You create a load, you create a training stress, that creates a stimulus, that stimulus creates progress. The irony is that as you progress that load, you feel better as the load gets harder. So you'd start to think, well, why don't you just keep the load on? In fact, my wife was telling me yesterday, maybe you should just keep on adding more and more stress. Well, that would be all well and good. The problem is I'd have 2 more weeks of high stress to follow that tactic, and then have to roll in for 1 week of enormous stress that my body can't even fathom how hard that's going to be, because I'm on new turf, new ground, a new environment, 7 days, racing, some of the best mountain bikers in the world, toughest single track in the world. I'm not going to try to hold on another 3 weeks to do that. I want my bad time now. And what we're hoping for is a bump later. And that's really what tapering's all about, is to take you at your best, wind yourself down to let your body recover, and then hopefully, if the timing is correct, your body begins to bounce back up towards that zenith, which was way back here a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So when you hit that event, you're at your best. If you ever heard someone talk about the Tour de France or any kind of stage race, they'll tell you, you really don't want to come into day 1 of the event at your very best. Because what's going to happen is, more than likely, you can't hold on to your very best and it's going to begin to go down. You want to come in just below you at your zenith. And again, I'm not there to race, and I'm not there to compete. I mean, I'll do the best I can each day, but who are we kidding here? I'm not going to be racing against Todd Wells and some of the best mountain bikers in the world for the overall. I'm there to basically have fun and survive and keep outletting to you how much fun that event is. So, today's lesson is that as you're moving closer to your event, okay, expect that you're not going to feel like you did a week prior. And that's actually meaning that you're right on target. What the trick here is to figure out what timing works best for you. Some people do better with almost no taper at all, meaning you just ride straight into the event, okay? And that's actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to down cycle 2 weeks out, and then I'm going to up cycle again just as I'm heading towards the event. So what I'm calling it is riding into the event, meaning that I'm not going to be sitting on my ass the last 4 days, 5 days before BC Bike Race. No. In fact, my game plan is this coming Saturday, Sunday, all the way until probably Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll have multiple 1 to 3 hour sessions. And those will be moderate to hard sessions. Now, if my body tells me no, okay, then you got to kind of go with the flow. If my body's feeling still beat up, still tired, saying it just doesn't have it today, I'll back it off. But game plan is to back it off earlier than normal and then ride into BC Bike Race. That way my legs are kind of already spinning, if you will, before I even get there. I think the worst thing we can do is be totally static and do nothing right before a big event. And of course you have to also add in the stress of, I got a 6 a.m. flight from Hartford over to Vancouver, British Columbia. I've got the logistics and repacking of getting all my gear out of my bag into the BC Bike Race bag, getting all the logistics of everything in order. That's a huge amount of stress. It's a huge amount of energy output, and we want to make sure that we're balancing that out beforehand. I will keep you updated. As far as my weight loss goes, by the way, the original post here for BC Bike Race, I went from about 174 on average, and again, my weight can fluctuate quite a bit per hour, literally. I'm down to about 166. I've gotten, after rides, I've actually gotten down to like 162. So right on track. I'm not going to really be worried about my weight this week. More than likely, my weight's going to go up quite a bit because as your body goes into recovery, it's going to start to retain water. It's going to do a whole bunch of weird stuff. My appetite's going to either be really low or really high or all over the place. The trick here is don't try to force anything. Just relax. Take a deep breath. Take care of yourself. Listen to yourself, and your body knows what it needs. Just don't get in its way. I think last night before bed, I was starving. I had to eat and just keep eating. Even though I didn't really want to, my body required food, and it didn't want good food. I had like 4 cinnamon rolls before bed last night. It's like, what are you doing? You're trying to lose weight. I don't care. I did whatever my body told me to do, and actually, if you had to guess if I'm feeling like crap right now, I'm actually feeling better by the minute. I had a big breakfast this morning, lots of food, lots of eggs. I had whole wheat toast, a glass of orange juice, which I never have. I didn't have as much coffee as I normally have. I feel much better already just by listening. I hope this is helpful, my friend. If you got any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you don't have Cycle 90 in season, great program to be using for any event, road or mountain bike, to help you prep for any goal that you've got. I'll keep you updated soon. Cheers.